What's up, y'all? One Piece One Life here, and guys, we're back. The latest chapter of One Piece 1146 just came out, and y'all, does anyone else feel like it's been a while since we had a chapter? Like, I completely understand that it's just been like the 1 week break that we're usually used to, but guys, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like it's been a long time. Maybe because we're in the like kind of rising action, getting to a big climax stage of the arc, but I don't know, I'm just waiting for something to grab me by the neck. But regardless, we're back, so this is going to be the chapter 1146 review. And I'm not gonna lie, this one, it gets dicey for the Straw Hats. But before we get into explaining why that is, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content just like this, and share it around with all your friends who love this series. You know what we always say here, let's get it going. And y'all, make sure you subscribe to me and my boys over at CSY. We finally did it and hit our milestone of 5K, but that doesn't mean that we're done growing. Stay tuned to hear us rap. So the chapter is titled A Stir in the Silence. Ominous for no reason. And in Yamato's cover story, we just have Ulti being like, Yamato, you saved us, now we're gonna follow you. Again, I predicted this like 10 chapters ago. Just the fact that it took us this long to get to this conclusion, it's really bothering me. I'm done with this cover story, let's move on. So it starts immediately where we left off with Goonko arriving on the Nami group ship. And as they all look at her and is like, oh, she's one of the human intruders, Goonko's just looking down at them like, who's human? Me? Oh, you must be mistaken. Goonko says, nah, we are gods. And Usopp even makes it a point to mention, you sound just like Enel back on Skypiea or one of the Celestial Dragons. Well, you did technically get it right. She is a Celestial Dragon. But also, Enel mentioned, could he possibly be coming back? So Colin is just like, yo, those are my friends. I'm not gonna let you kidnap them. That's real mean, blah, 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 blah. And Goonko's just like, shut up, you're a child to me. Because of your size, we had to kidnap you this way. A clean getaway wouldn't be feasible. And as the scene transitions, we see that Frankie has just off-screened the huge thundercloud that was attacking his group. Seems like he hit off a radical beam that just one-shot it, so hey, Frankie stocks up, I guess? But that's when Goonko tells them that the God's Knights plans on taking the kids to Mary Joa, and Nami's just like, oh, over my dead body. Jinbei's like, oh, they must be Celestial Dragons then. And Usopp's just like, oh wait, but they don't look like the ones that I'm thinking about. So of course, they must be thinking about the Celestial Dragons they saw in Sabaody. That's when Brook comes in and says, nah, she must be a God's Knight. Which is just interesting that Brook actually knows what a God's Knight is. Because how does Brook know that? Is it because of some sort of like encounter in the past? Or is it just general knowledge like to the One Piece world? Or does Brook just really know stuff? Because you know, you think about it, after Robin, Brook is like probably the most like world savvy of the crew. At least as far as things with like history or older things go, because you know, again, he was born 90 years ago. And then I'll just say here, because it doesn't really continue on in the chapter, I really thought there was going to be a bigger Brook and Goonko connection, given that Brook is the Soul King, and Goonko said her favorite thing to do is listen to Soul King songs. But it doesn't pan out. But as Goonko is just like, you're right, I am a God's Knight, she starts sending one of her arrows towards Usopp. Nami takes out the climb attack and calls out Zeus, and then she has Zeus take on the form of a shark using Thunder Shark tempo. Which is cool, we're getting a new Nami move, even though it's essentially just her usual tempo, is just Zeus is taking on a different form. But still, that's cool. But then Goonko uses her arrow and simply forces Zeus to redirect. And then Zeus closes in on Nami, makes contact, and there's a huge burst of electricity. Whole time, Goonko is essentially just quoting scripture. Because she's saying, one day, the world was meant to vanish, but the lowly humans realized the position they were in and tried to fight back. So Usopp takes out his slingshot and shoots her with the skull bomb grass, the same move that he used to break the mirror earlier on. And then we get what may be, for me, the most interesting part of the chapter, because you have Goonko, like, the top half of her body is blown away. Usopp is just like, oh my goodness, did I kill her? What's going on? But then she starts regenerating, like in the same way that the Gorosei did on Egghead. Which essentially makes me think of that mark that the God's Knights have that allows them to use the Abyss. I feel like that mark isn't just for the Abyss. I feel like that mark is connected to Imu's powers, and it just grants them some sort of subset of abilities that they all share. So they each have their own devil fruits, right? But then they can also use the Abyss instant transport and apparently this regen. So Goonko just says, the countdown has started. Once it has begun, it cannot be stopped. The world is already entangled in the opening salvo of a great war, while sending an arrow snaking towards Usopp, telegraphing her attack. And then drops the biggest bomb, which is that the Giant's allegiance is going to strongly impact the direction that the world goes into. Now this is very, very interesting because of how it can tie into Joy Boy's story. Because with this, you're thinking that the Giant Nation actually is going to play a pivotal role. Which means how could they have fumbled so badly in the past if they were allies with Joy Boy? Unless they're not. So that's when the Straw Hats start piecing things together. Nami's like, we're never going to let a global war happen. Hell no. Meanwhile, Jinbei's just like, so that's why you're keeping hostages, because you want Elbath to be under the world government so that the government controls the world. And then Goonko's just like, you know that the word hostage means nothing to me. One of these lowly brats is about as insignificant as a fly as the rest of you are. Then she starts wrapping an arrow around Colin to like take him away. And then this is crazy. You have Jinbei preparing the 5,000 brick tile fist, while on the other side, Brook is preparing Gavotte Bon d'Anavan. But Goonko passes between them and uses Aloe, Faded Arrow, an attack that causes 2 arrows to like kind of essentially redirect both of their attacks to each other. So Jinbei's hits Brook and vice versa. Then an arrow appears like right under Nami, and Goonko kicks the shit out of her. Usopp tries to shoot her, but she dodges, weaves, and then knees him in the face. And all I can really say to that is, y'all, why is Goonko soloing the Straw Hats right now? Like, yeah, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are here, but I think that's the point. If anything, this is at least doing a good job of portraying the God's Knights to actually be a threat, because keep in mind, these were the same guys who were thinking that a Buster Call is light work, and now Goonko is making them look like light work, including Jinbei, and that's what really gets me. If it was Frankie instead, I would have been like, okay, 2 of the mid-tier and 2 of the weakling trio makes sense. But Jinbei being there? Meanwhile, you just have seemingly Summers and Killingham talking on the phone. Summers is just like, yo, Killingham, is it ready? Killingham's just like, well, you know, Elbath's communication network is a little wonky, but I'll see what I can do. And then we cut to the Walrus School, where Principal Kiba has been absolutely decimated by Killingham. Killingham's just like, my, those fangs are sharp. Whack. And this is what I'm saying, Killingham has to be the best God's Knight. He's just funny, because he's not doing anything out of malicious intent. He's just like, well, that's the job. He even says to Anji, you can't move because I'm using my sleep paralysis on you, so just stay out for a while, please. And then he tells Summers, see, there's a tell-addiction snail in every village, so if you just speak into it, everybody on Elbath should be able to hear it. And Summers is just like, all right, I'm almost about ready to make my speech, but let me just have one more second so that I can wipe out Saul. And as we cut to where Summers is, we see that he has absolutely decimated Saul. Saul is bleeding with puncture wounds everywhere, and he's barely standing. There's just a sea of thorns from Summers' fruit, and it even seems like he has like a spiked club made out of like thorns. Summers is just like, Saul, eh? I thought you died in Ohara. Well, doesn't matter. I guess I'll just kill you now. Meanwhile, keep in mind, Robin and Chopper are still hidden within Saul's hair, and he's whispering to them, he's like, yo, Robin, Chopper, please, I'm about to go down. Protect the children. Please, if this is the last thing I want, protect the children. Y'all, if we're about to have another fake out death with Saul, I don't even know. The fact that this is happening again with Saul specifically makes me feel absolutely nothing. Like, you're supposed to feel tension because it's like, oh my goodness, Robin and Saul just met again. Are they gonna be ripped away again? And I don't care, I don't believe it. That, I think, is one of the downsides of like doing this repeated action that Oda keeps doing and bringing back people. But yeah, Saul falls face forward. We don't know if he's okay. He probably will be. And then at the very end of the chapter, Summers is just like, you see, a school, a library, y'all don't need all this. This is all Harold's fault. You see, Harold shouldn't have gone for the peaceful route. If you were still warriors, maybe this wouldn't have happened. No, it still would have, but it wouldn't be this bad. And then he says, well, Harold, y'all were supposed to be our mercenaries. What happened to that? That damn Harold messed everything up. End of the chapter, no break next week. Now this is exciting for a few reasons. One, from the way that Summers is talking, it seems to almost confirm that Harold actually wasn't a bad guy in the end. So we can put the evil king theories to rest. He actually seems like an upstanding guy. But then two, it gives us even more pondering of what exactly just happened in the past. It seems like Harold is set to play an even larger role than we thought. Because it seems like Elbath had some sort of contract with the government where they were gonna be their mercenaries, and then Harold did something to get them out of it. And I know it's kind of unrelated, but it just makes me think about Oimo and Kashi and how they were tricked into working for the government because of the lies that the government told. So is it maybe something similar to that? I don't know. All I know is that rising action-wise, this chapter was actually decently solid for me. Obviously, it didn't have any incredibly hype moments, but you know, it was really great in portraying why the God's Knights are actual threats. Because how are y'all in 3 different locations doing 3 different missions, but simultaneously just decimating anybody you come across. But I'm sorry, Goonko has to be the highlight of this chapter. Soloing 4 of the Straw Hat Pirates by yourself is actually insane. And for anybody who has Jinbei in their top 30, take him out. But what did y'all think about this chapter? I definitely want to hear all your thoughts, so leave those in the comments below. That is going to be the end of the video, y'all, but before we go, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it around with all your friends who love the series, or anime and manga in general. Remember, I'm trying to build a community, but I need your help to do it. That's going to be all for me. I'll catch you on the next one, and always remember, one piece, one life.